Okay, so it's 10 a.m. So I think we'll get going. So on behalf of my co-chairs here, Ryan and Sarah, I want to welcome you all to this edition of the Lunar Surface Science Workshop, where we'll be talking about landing sites and capabilities for future CLPS deliveries. And we're really excited that everybody is here today. I'm going to pass it over to Ryan, who's going to go over some of the details and logistics for the rest of the day. So,
Yes.
Ryan?
Yep. Thanks, Angela. And again, thanks to Angela and Sarah and Amanda for co-chairing this, and to Emily and Lauren for being our documentarians today. And thanks to all of you for joining us for what should be a very interesting and productive day of conversations around landing sites and capabilities for our future CLPS deliveries. So I'm going to go over some expected outcomes from this workshop, and if there's time at the end of my 10 minutes, I'll quickly run through GatherTown and Miro, but if not, you guys have the links to those and can jump in at any time. So this workshop was convened primarily to discuss landing sites that are of high scientific value for near-term surface commercial deliveries to the moon, and the capabilities that are required to achieve high-value science at those destinations. So this workshop will be solely focused on science that can be done through CLPS and PRISM. We're not going to include discussions on things like Discovery or New Frontier class missions, and we'll have very limited discussion on Artemis missions. We might discuss a little bit about CLPS supporting Artemis, but this is not focused on Artemis. So we will have a presentation from NASA here in a little bit that's going to cover the factors that go into choosing CLPS landing sites, and then we'll have plenty of opportunities for community input, questions, feedback, etc. So while many of the landing sites that we're going to discuss today have been outlined in community documents, one desired outcome from this workshop is to identify any new sites or science objectives that have been recognized as scientifically valuable in the last few years. And so the results of this workshop do not override or nullify any high priority landing sites that have been identified in these previous documents and workshops, but rather the results from today will serve to add to our pool of knowledge surrounding where we should go on the moon and what science can be achieved there. So secondly, we want to walk away from this workshop with a clear idea of the landing sites we can go to as we have access to different types of capabilities from the CLPS vendor pool. So the goal of this workshop is not necessarily to prioritize landing sites or objectives, but rather to come up with a clear outline of the types of sites and the specific sites that we can go to and the science we can achieve there as more capabilities become available. We will summarize these results in a report that later NASA can use together with other community documents as we strategize the future of our CLPS deliveries. So we will have two longer discussion periods today. There's a few embedded in that we'll use for like Q&A for presenters, but we do have two other specific longer discussion periods. The first is going to be a panel discussion centered around long-term strategic planning for future CLPS landing sites, and there will be open Q&A during that time. And then the second, at the very end of the day, is going to be more of a collective discussion and brainstorming session centered around what sites we can go to with increasing amounts of capabilities. So we really want everybody to participate. And this second brainstorming session will use both information from today's presentations and the poster presenters, as well as information that's been contributed on our Miro board. And so I am going to use that as my cue to myself to pull up Miro very quickly and show you guys what we are going to do with that. I got too many screens up. Let's see. Okay, share. Oh, hey, Ricky, can you make me a presenter? Thanks. All right, so pulling up. There we go. All right, are you guys seeing Miro? Great. Thanks, Angela. So this is our Miro board. You can access this from the link in your email about the meeting details for today, or you can go into the GatherTown portal and you can actually walk to it and it will bring you to this. And I can show you GatherTown if we have time. So if you've not used Miro before, this is a collaborative brainstorming tool. Essentially, you can navigate around. Oops, well, I don't want to do that. You can navigate around this board, and we've set it up in two different sections. This gray box here is, we've got it separated into capabilities, things like survive the night, communication, sample return, etc. And the idea with this is you can grab sticky notes. You can either grab our preset ones over here that are blank, or you can use the tool on the left to pull up a sticky note. And you can just go in and add landing sites into these different categories. Landing sites can fit in more than one category. There's no right or wrong answer here. But we do ask that you try to make a distinction. If you put in, well, here I'll show my example of the most amazing site. We require a static lander at bare minimum. So you put your sticky note here, put the name of your landing site, and just put required. But hey, at this landing site, sample return would be really enhancing. So I'm going to add it here and just put a note that, sample return would really enhance our science. Not required, but would definitely add to the science. So again, you can just go in here, add landing sites, and under the capabilities that are needed. And there are some blank spaces at the bottom. If we've left out a capability that you think of, just go in here and change the name of it. And you can add more boxes if you need to. And it's okay if this gets messy. It's totally fine. We want it to get messy. We will sort through it later, maybe partly in real time and partly outside of the workshop. And then the second side of this, you'll have to zoom in to really read these things. It's kind of zoomed out right now, but as you zoom in, things get more legible. Over here is our site-specific brainstorming. So this is where you can really add more information about each individual site. Again, just go in here and change the site name to, whatever, Aristarchus, South Pole, whatever you want to call it. And this is where we really want you to put information on science objectives, put more information about how a certain capability would enhance the science. You put in traceability to community documents. This example here is completely, I hope you can realize, fake. But I did put an example in here for you to follow. Just add sticky notes to it, add to other people's. Just because someone added one doesn't mean you can't touch it. I think there are probably ways to add comments. If you don't want to put a sticky note, you can just put a little comment on somebody else's sticky note. Again, just play around with the tool throughout the day. Go to this during the breaks, during just any other time throughout today. We'll leave this open for probably, I don't know, a week or so past the workshop as well. But again, just go in here, Control Z if you do something, accidentally move something around. But this is a tool for us to use kind of collaboratively today. I've got 2 minutes, so I'll just quickly turn on GatherTown. So if you go into the link that we gave you for GatherTown, it will probably prompt you, I don't know how to get rid of this box. It will probably prompt you to create a little avatar and your name, and then it will bring you into our room here, which it's not going to take away this box. Anyway, let me see if I can refresh it real quick. So GatherTown is kind of a virtual space where you can walk around, talk with people. It's also going to be our tool for accessing the poster session. And like I said, so here's the Miro board. You can walk your little person down to the Miro board. It'll tell you to click X to pull it up. And so there's some, kind of tables here people can sit. You can chat with others. You can go over here to our poster list and see the list of posters. And then up here at the top is the actual poster hall. So during the poster session, you'll walk up to one of these. The presenters will be standing next to them. When you get up close, it'll automatically open a video, and you can talk with the person as if you would face-to-face at a real poster session. So that's all there is to GatherTown. We've left it pretty simple because there's just not a lot of time to sit in here today. But we do want people to utilize this, again, during the poster session and the breaks. And if you have any questions, shoot us an email. We'll try to answer it as best we can during the workshop. And so I'm going to stop sharing. I think I've hit the stuff that I wanted to go over before we start. We have just a little less than a minute left. Oh, yes. Thank you, Angela. Yeah. So if you are presenting today, we would ask that you turn on your cameras so that we can all see you. And I think Amanda dropped the link to the Miro board in the chat. So thanks for that.